Hey folks, Matt Easton here, Scholar Gladiator. Apologies for my voice, I'm suffering from a mild cold mixed with a bit of hay fever I think at the moment. I have previously done a video talking about Victorian truncheons, okay? And my good friend, shout out to Mr. Philip Melhop, I commented on my video afterwards. He said it was mostly right. There were some bits he didn't disagree with, that's absolutely fine. He is more or less what I would consider an expert on Victorian truncheons. So what I might do at some point, Phil, if you're watching this, I might rope you into doing a video on this channel with me. I am sort of fairly interested in these, but I don't know a huge amount about them. You'll notice this one's painted rather pretty, which you can tell something about the age and sometimes which police force they're from the decoration on there. But I talked a little bit about the use of these truncheons and why they were important in the Victorian period for law enforcement to assist, in defence against things like other sticks or knives or this kind of thing. Firearms weren't used an awful lot in crime in the 19th century. The police, British police in the 19th century did have access to firearms when they thought they needed them, but they don't seem to have needed them very often, much as they don't these days in Britain. But sticks, nevertheless, very, very useful. Useful in riot control, useful in self-defense, this kind of stuff. So it's a non-lethal, and I'll come back to that in a second, a non-lethal way of protecting yourself and facilitating an arrest. And we talked a little bit about ways that these were used, striking at certain parts, obviously sometimes on the head, okay, into the neck, into collarbones, anywhere down the forearm or hand will be quite effective. In modern police use in riot control, they sometimes strike to the thighs and the knees. I wouldn't really recommend that in a self-defense situation for all the reasons that everybody who's ever done HEMA or most martial arts will realise. If you're striking down here, you're bringing all of your really vital targets to bear. So police, if you're watching this, and I have done consultation stuff with the police in the past, if someone's attacking you with a knife, don't try and hit them in the thigh with a stick because you're going to get stabbed a lot, so don't do that, okay? Hopefully that might be useful to someone out there. But yeah, but striking to arms, striking to heads, striking to necks, this kind of thing. And clearly this is an important, an effective striking implement, but not as effective as like a mace or a hammer or something like this. But it's not supposed to be. But nevertheless, if you were not uncautious, shall we say, if you were not restrained, you could absolutely kill someone with a stick. You could kill someone with most things. You could kill someone obviously with your feet, with your bare hands, okay? You don't need an implement to do that. But these sticks can be very dangerous, and I don't want you to, just because we normally look at things like swords and war hammers and axes and stuff on this channel, I don't want you to underestimate how powerful a hardwood stick of this kind of length can actually be. But in some situations, in some parts of the British Isles at this time, they decided they needed something a little bit more serious. And so I came across this in an auction and I couldn't resist it. It reminds me a little bit of Negan's bat in The Walking Dead. It made me chuckle to think of this as a truncheon. How do I know this is a police truncheon? Well, let's see if we can get the camera to focus on it. There we go. Bit of a giveaway there, okay? So Queen Victoria's crown with VR, which of course stands for Victoria Regina, or Queen Victoria. Okay, now this, if we just hold it next to the other truncheon for a second, is quite a lot more serious, okay, on a number of counts. Number one, it's longer, and every extra inch counts. Believe me on that. Every extra inch gives you more leverage at the tip. And remember, unlike with swords which have a centre of percussion down here, with objects which have a lot of mass at the tip, such as a stick or even a falchion or things like this, often actually you're striking with the very end of the lever, okay? You're hitting with the tip, with the end. Sometimes you might be thrusting, incidentally. Thrusting into the stomach was done quite a bit with truncheons, but maybe we'll talk more about that when I get Phil on camera. But yeah, absolutely, if you're striking with the tip of this thing, well, two counts. Number one, this one is now longer, but not only that, they've actually reduced the mass down here, so it's nice and easy to hold on to, but concentrated all of the mass at the tip. So where is the point of balance on this thing? There, okay, pretty much. pretty close to where you're hitting someone. So, and it has got a lanyard, incidentally. It's got a hole through it. I don't think this is the original bit of string, but it probably would have been leather, I think, originally. But that's so that you can walk along and have it tied to your wrist and get it at any moment. And, you know, famously in films, they're often swinging the thing around and stuff like that, which I'm sure they did when they were on boring patrols at night. Where is this from? I don't know. It's black with the gold VR on it. I don't personally know, therefore, where that's likely to be from. Phil did mention to me that down in, I think it was Cornwall, they had square, one's a bit like this, but square sectioned at the end. I should mention that truncheons, whilst this is a fairly traditionally shaped truncheon, 19th century truncheons often come in a variety of different shapes. Sometimes known as tipstaffs, and sometimes they almost look like wooden maces, and sometimes they look like this, and sometimes they're square section and this kind of thing. But this really, to me, it reminds me almost of a baseball bat or a softball bat or rounder's bat, and it's a serious piece of hitting kit. I don't need to go and hit my punch bag with it, I'm sure you can imagine, but this really is a club. I mean, we're not going to call it anything else, are we? It is a club, a billy club. It is more than a truncheon. I would be slightly reluctant to refer to this as a truncheon, really. I would say it's more like a cudgel. And we know it's Victorian as well. So Queen Victoria, 1837 to 1901. So it's from the second half of the 1800s, probably. I don't know if any of you are experts. Maybe Phil will know this. Feel free to post underneath, Phil. If any of you are experts on these and you know specifically who this is for, if it's for prisons or riots or something, I don't know. But it's clearly not just a normal police truncheon. Very, very serious object, and clearly you could kill someone with this quite easily or put them out of action very, very quickly. So there we go, really, just to say Victorian and Georgian truncheons come in a variety of different shapes, some of them much more offensive than you might necessarily think of a truncheon these days. Cheers, folks. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. We've got extra videos on Patreon, t-shirts on Spreadshirt, and I hope to see you for the next video.